Hello, everyone. The next episode of the DFS Down Under show is live again here on Wednesday night. Smatho 10 is back here with Big Hef for another big preview of the DFS sports here in Australia. Hef, bumper show coming up tonight. How are you this evening, mate?
Very well, Smatho. How's the first of all, the state of origin is up and going. Have we got your full attention tonight?
No, you don't. Just to be clear right now, the iPad's back. I've got it streaming again. So if I'm looking to my left and looking at the score, I don't care if there's going to be a try. I know what's happening. So Queensland are up by 6-2, and there's just more errors going on. Mate, big show ahead. Let's get in with our best part of the show. Smatho's funds up. And, mate, this week, mate, there wasn't much really to the nominations were few and far between because obviously Australia's number one rank DFS player and JK123 had an absolute fill-up on Moneyball on the weekend, the Saturday slate and the Sunday slate. Multiple entries in the top 20. Mate, he's nearly cracked $1 million on tracked winnings on the DFR site. What an achievement.
Wow. That's a lot of money. He'd be well and truly the first to get that close, wouldn't he?
Oh, he'll be the number one to crack the $1 million, and that's just in tournaments alone. You can imagine all the head-to-heads and the six-mans, all that he's been going through. So, and DraftKings, he's doing some wonderful things on that particular site. So we'll keep an eye on the old tracker on the site, and we might send a little shout out once he hits that magical 7-figure mark. But this week's thumbs up.
You're going to bake a cake, Smatho, when it happens. Is that true?
Oh, bake cake.
Well, I did think you were his biggest fan until the qualifiers this week, and you've got a big challenger. Are we going to get to him later on?
Oh, we might get him later. We might get him later on, but let's give out my thumbs up to this week, and I'm going to go back to last Friday's $100,000 special on Draftstars. Nearly 5,000 contestants put their $20 in, and there was one massive winner for the night. Reverse Kangas won. Topped the field with a score of 826 points here, Hef. And I just want to quickly show the team on the screen here. And the mate we talked about last week, James Sicily, he's bounced back, and he bounced back in a big way. And as you can see there, Hef, at low ownership too.
Yeah, we did talk about Sicily, didn't we? And one of my favourite little points is just when everyone's sick and tired of someone, good time to play them. And there were reasons for Sicily to bounce back. We talked about he had that failed stint up forward and some rain the week before, and he was just dominating all night. Sicily, it's a very playable team.
Yeah,
I think we talked about Grundy, which I'm going to have a bit of head wobble about later on. So playing McAvoy was quite easy. Quainer 70-odd%. Just a standard group of mids, and then Mitchell Lewis was probably the hardest guy to get there in that lineup. We haven't talked about it, but we've seen lately Collingwood's they're a bit susceptible to the tall forwards lately. Lewis, he killed him, Mitchell Lewis. We'll touch on this a bit later as well, but I still can't forget Sam Reid having 125 a few weeks ago against them. So maybe there's a little chink there for the Pies that we need to be aware of moving forward. But well done to Kangas, nearly 10K. What a result.
No. Now, when I see his username, I think of Big Brother Up Late. Is that correct?
I can't remember that.
Admit it, you've seen that. You've seen it.
Never. I actually stopped watching. When I unloaded on Saxon to get voted off. And there was a huge roar. You could just, they had the voting on the website every week, and whoever had the most votes, you just backed them to get voted off, and off they went. And then obviously I just did my total balls on Saxon, and then they realised they tallied up the votes wrong. I never watched it ever again. So there you go. That was my Big Brother experience.
Memory lane there. Well,
you don't forget when you lose a bet, do you?
You don't, But for Reverse Kangas, mate, you can get my 2 thumbs up this week for smashing out nearly 10K in prize money for a wonderful lineup. So well done to you. Bring on the emoji. Where is it? Come on. There it is. Two thumbs up. All right, there we go.
Sorry, I think I put avocado to sleep with my early big stories, but now we're away, are we?
We're away with the reverse kanga. Here we go.
2 thumbs up.
Right, let's move on to the golden tickets. And Hef, they're starting to get picked up. We've got some big heavy hitters who are desperately trying to get their even second tickets now. And I only had 6 winners over the weekend because of the 3 big slates. Lihai, 88. Procession. Luharay, 88. PK, 89. Quad Squad. What we got here? Sack, 98. And the bloke I called up this week, Get Sid. He managed to get a ticket as well. He caught up for my article for Small Dogs on the DFR website. So, mate, we've now got 63 winners with golden tickets. Obviously, yourself got 2, so I would say be around the 45 mark, I reckon, in terms of amount of people who have got a ticket so far. And we've got one going in the NRL tonight, which I'm just kind of looking at the score. Oh, looks like we've got a penalty here. Oh, 8-2. So, shout out to Gat Sid, who featured on the article, and awesome avatar he has. Have you seen his avatar on Draftstars?
I have. I did read your article, Smatho, as I do every week. And, I did have you as Jay's biggest fan, and now I'm not so sure because that avatar was magnificent.
No, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. If you haven't said, get on my article and have a look at it. I'll put the tweet up on it. It's pretty awesome.
I was disappointed you didn't ask him what his username meant.
No.
Maybe we need to put that in the article. Ask some of these names, you just don't know where they've come from. They're not all as straightforward as you and me, so maybe start asking that for us, Smatho.
Maybe I might ask him at the live final just to
there we go.
give us a little background on their usernames. All right. Hef, let's move on to the news. And not really much of the news tonight. Obviously, you want to just give a bit of a score check in the India-New Zealand game?
Well, there is a lot of news coming out of England at the moment. India 3 for 19 in the 10th over.
Yuck.
They need another 220.
Yeah.
Wow, they were 3 for 5. Like, you didn't believe me when we came on. You had to pull up Crick Info and have a look.
I did.
Yeah, they're in all sorts of problems, all sorts of trouble, India. And, well, wouldn't it be nice to play New Zealand in a final?
Now, what else is pretty good as well? I actually subscribed to KO Sports here last week, Hef, and as you said, they were free fall. I quickly jumped on the web browser, and I was able to watch all 3 wickets literally in 30 seconds, which is a fantastic thing. So, big props to KO Sports. You know, who are sponsoring the live final here for Draftstars. So, a 12-month subscription would be nice from KO, which would be great. So anytime at Smatho10, and if you want a cheeky bump to TM Heffernan as well, he can sample that product as well. Now, big news I want you to tell the audience tonight is the recent trials on the God's Carpet at Devonport. What happened there yesterday, Hef?
Oh, yes. Mystic Journey, best horse in Australia now with the retirement of Winks. I've got no doubt that that's going to be proven right in this preparation. She trialled yesterday up at Devonport on God's Carpet, as we like to call it, and looked $1 million, did everything she needed to bring on the Cox Plate for her this year. Mystic Journey, all the Tassie will be behind her. She's got to be the most popular horse now with Winks, I reckon, gone. What do you reckon? Even you know about it, Smatho.
Oh, yes. Whole Tassie loves it, and he's going to take us all the way to Moonee Valley in October, and we're going to unload the bank accounts on him when he goes around over 2,040 metres in October. So we'll keep an eye on him.
Is that a segue into the rapid fire for Draftstars? Have you seen them doing that?
Yes, I have. And I've been no good at it. I've been no good at it though. So you might have to tweet our followers your little rapid fire choices from now on, if you think you're all over it.
Our good mate Parks has been keeping everyone well informed of rapid fire horse racing and everything else there on Draftstars. I'm a massive horse racing fan, as you know, so that's good for something else to fill out your week with, Smatho.
Yep, I'll keep an eye on. I'm waiting for your tweets with your little screenshots of your rapid fire every Friday night. I'll be looking forward to it. Okay, let's get on to the DFS contest for this weekend, and we'll start here on Thursday. Couple of big contests on Thursday. We'll just get the PG out of the way first. The John Deere Classic. Last week was actually a really good tournament, the 3M Open. Bryson DeChambeau getting that clutch eagle on 18, and then the two young guns, Colin with a double L, by the way, Morikawa, and then the Matty Wolf. Have you seen Matty Wolf swing? Do you know what it looks like?
No.
Google it. He has a little twitch of his knee, and then he just does this Jimmy Furyk kind of style swing. And
it's not like Charles Barkley.
No, not quite Charles, but boys and girls and schools growing up will be doing that flinch from now on. The Matty Wolf little flinch before they do a swing. So he had a wonderful tournament. He also scored an eagle on the last hole. He won the tournament, and then we move on to John Deere, which is a bit of a.
Hang on. We don't want to move on straight away, Smatho.
What's going on?
You can't see what's on the screen, but we had to block off 5 minutes last week for your team that came in 200th or whatever it did.
Right.
You came fourth this week, Smatho. I wondered why you said it was such a great tournament. Fourth.
Yeah. It was my first.
You're getting close.
I'm getting there. It was a great golf sweat. I think it was after round 2, I was up the top, and then round 3, I had a bit of a stinker, and then came back hard, 4th round. So, yeah, great result. Best result for golf.
We're going to give you thumbs 2 thumbs up fourth in the golf.
No, just a little tip of the cap or something. I don't know.
No, it's
2
thumbs up. You've done a great job with the golf so far this year, Smatho, and we've been waiting for you to come top 3 to give it to you, but we'll go on 4th. No. There you go.
On 4th. Fair enough. Thanks for that.
Keep up with your work.
Okay. Right. There's a little $6,000 contest on Draftstars and a $600,000 on DraftKings. Maybe I have to start playing DraftKings from now on.
Oh, 4 for 24 India. Oh,
wowee. Yeah. Wowee. All right. Back to the golf. Yeah, not much of a tournament in terms of the field this week. They're all over in Scotland playing the Scottish Open for the British Open, which means the huge contest next week. But if you want to sharpen your work, there is a $6,000 contest on Drafty for John Deere. My article is on the website as of now. Good luck. Bit of a shit show this week. So see how you go. When you've got your 3 rookies who your top salary blokes for the slate, it's going to be hard work. And just quietly, Draftstars, you still got dashes on them. You might want to fix that up, all right? Politely. Hey, you got dashes with Victor and Colin and all that. Just ditch your data guys just onto that. Now, speaking of Cricket World Cup, massive news coming out of England, obviously, for tonight and obviously tomorrow. I've got here, mate. Oh, there's a try in New South Wales too. God, it's all happening. Wow, Jesus Christ.
You told me Wednesday night to be our best night, Smatho, because there's nothing going on. Well, this is
nothing going on. Oh, God. Oh, he's got it down too. I don't know who it is, but anyway. Yeah, England, what's going on? Literally, they're packing it, but obviously Australia now in all sorts. Selection issues, injuries.
Fancy breaking all your batsmen's arms in the nets. What's going on?
Folklore. Jeez.
Sounds like Hansom's going to come in, which... all I think of with Peter Hanscom is that Big Bash final when he just went run down the wicket and hit it straight up in the air. So hopefully he performs a bit better than that. But now it's really, really game on with the Kiwis in the box seat against India too. So that's going to be a massive one tomorrow night. Bit of rain around that might just make things interesting from a DFS angle if they have a shortened match. Keep that in mind if you're going to put some teams in. I'm sure there's some big contests tomorrow night, Smatho.
Yeah, so we have our previews and our data sheets are ready to go. We're just waiting for our friends at Draftstars actually post their contest. So I'm actually just jumping on their website now to see if they actually post it. And alas, they have not still. So we'll have to wait till tomorrow for our data tools and cheat sheets for the bigger game against Australia versus England. So, mate, let's move on. Oh, before we go, do you reckon Glenn Maxwell should play tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. Bit silly if he doesn't.
Like all series and then drop him for a final. It makes no sense to me at all.
Now, I just want to do a quick shout out to our data tools for cricket this season, which I've been, drawing so much. I've got a screenshot of the venues that we've been using on the DFAR site. And if you have a look at this, Old Trafford here was where the game is for the India game tonight. Shows us 450 average runs. And it's come true. There's not many runs and a lot of wickets in this particular matchup. And then we're at Edgbaston in Birmingham tomorrow, which is, a bit more of a scoring ground and less wickets. So just bear that in mind when you construct your teams tomorrow. You might want to go a bit more batsman heavy and then bowler heavy. So that's available on the DFR website for all users free of charge. Hef, all right, let's talk some footy. Your mob, West Coast, are playing Collingwood tomorrow at Optus Stadium. Not tomorrow, Friday. Sorry. It's a later lock at 8:10 Eastern Standard Time. The line's currently 17.5 to the Eagles, and the total's 159.5. As we've seen in Perth, it's been pretty pissing down rain lately, but old Stevie Jacobs on the Today Show reckons it will be okay for Friday. For the sites, Moneyball have a $40,000 single slate contest, and Draftstars have gone the massive $100,000 contest for a $20 entry tonight. We've had a bit of feedback from our viewers, so we're going to be a bit more biased, or a bit more balanced in terms of our takes tonight, but we're still going to be concentrating on our Moneyball plays, and I might put some sneaky little Draftstars plays just on the end of your takes here. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, most of the time they sort of cross over reasonably well, the two sites. Obviously, we've talked about Moneyball being a little bit slow on the new players to react, but in general, a lot of the stuff we talk about isn't so much price-driven as sort of constructing your lineups in a certain way as well, which we've talked about being as important, if not more so, than the plays you pick. So, yeah, we'll listen to the fans, Smatho, and we'll try and keep everyone happy.
Okay. Well, let's look at the resource. Look at the resources here for the DFR website, and what I've noticed straight away, Hef, is that Pies are starting to leak fantasy points across the ground in terms of overall points, backs in the midfield as well. Even the rucks, Brody's starting to give up some points in the rucks as well. So make sure you get onto the data tools section of the website and check out the points against if you want to have a look at those. In team news, looks like Jeremy Howe's going to miss another week with a calf injury. Isaac Quainer should be back for a second game after a strong debut last week. We got news today that Josh Noble is in. He's averaging around the high 20 possessions in the VFL after being picked up in the mid-season draft. And then over at West Coast, Liam Duggan was going to miss a few weeks of his ankle, and Josh Kennedy should be back from his illness last week. Hef, what do you reckon of this particular slate? Just straight up for us.
Just on that team news, Liam Duggan's not a huge fantasy sort of. He's not that relevant when we're talking DFS, but he's quite valuable to the Eagles in the role he plays. So I assume they're probably going to bring Tom Cole in, who is another bloke who probably isn't going to be very highly owned. And but when they bring Kennedy in, I'm interested to see what they do with Oscar Allen now, because he has been floating around depending on who's in the rucks and up forward and down back. And now they've got Barras and McGovern. And if they do have Darling and Kennedy and they've got to find a spot for Hickey resting forward a lot of the time, then they start to look pretty tall with Oscar Allen. So interested to see what the Eagles do with team selection there.
Yeah.
23rd of July 2017, nearly 2 years ago, was the last time Collingwood actually beat the Eagles.
Right. Okay.
Eagles won the last 4 games, 3 at the MCG. They've all been extremely enjoyable for myself, especially the grand final. My Eagles in the wet theory, hasn't that gone out the window the last couple of weeks? When
yes,
especially against Freo, they made it look dry. All those big marks they were taking up forward, that was unbelievable. Maybe that they've had so many games in the wet this year, they've learned how to handle it properly. We don't have, like you said, with your Stevie Jacobs reference, we don't have to worry about that on Friday night. As much as I love the Eagles, I hate single slate games with the Eagles because they're consistent, they're very exposed, and there's just no volatility in all the players. Everyone who's priced is probably they always score so close to what their price is, so they're very hard to find much value with. And then even with Natanui into the mix, that just muddies the waters even more, because obviously his upside is capped with the amount of time he spends on the ground. But anyway, we'll get stuck into it, because there's going to be a winning team, so we've got to try and find it.
Yeah, all right. You touched on Nick Nat here, and we'll start with the rucks. And mate, might get this up straight away. Let's just get this out of the way. we popped the poll on after last week's show. We said Brodie Grundy, 118 point line, and you defiantly said under Smatho. It's got to be under. And and I didn't believe you, to be honest. So I chucked the poll up on the DFR website, and look at the results here, Hef. 78%. Over 118.5. It was quite staggering. The avalanche of support for the over, and what happened? Jesus, what happened there, Hef?
Well, he didn't get close, did he?
He just
I did say don't bring this up on the show, Smatho, but I'm glad you did.
Right.
Sometimes
little wobble.
He inched his way to 100. Grundy, the big boy McAvoy, he did a great job against Grundy last week, and I saw Grundy got 146 Supercoach points, and that just reinforces why I don't play that game, because I just don't know how they came up with that. McAvoy was instrumental, and I didn't think Grundy was. But now we've got Grundy. Like, we won't be putting that poll up again, Smatho, because I reckon it'd be 95% go on the under this week. What do you reckon?
Well, I had a quick check on the old punting sites, and his line's only just a bit over 100.
Yeah.
So obviously he's got the matchup with Nick Nat and Hickey. It's gonna be tough for DFS because obviously he's pretty high salary on Moneyball at 11.4, and then you've got the ruck sharing of Nick Nat and Hickey. So what do you think?
Yeah, it's a total spew job, isn't it? Trying to pick your ruck here. Grundy got 122 against the Eagles earlier this year, but that was that Vardy-Hickey combo that didn't really scare anyone. I do remember the game at the MCG last year when West Coast won despite Natanui doing his knee during the game, and Grundy only had 68 against the Lycett-Vardy combo. He had 110 in the quarterfinal and 99 in the grand final against that combo as well. But Natanui is just so dominant in these centre bounces and around the ground that it's very rare for a ruckman to score 100 against the Eagles. So even he might get to 100, Grundy, but at 11,400 you need more than that. So we look at the Eagles, we're like we said, Natanui plays 60% if he's lucky, and he's not going to rack up the ball around the ground. He's been bagged for it for years, but it doesn't matter because his value is in his pressure and his hit-outs and just his intimidation around the ball. 7,100, I can't see him go above about 90. So and then Hickey's only $400 cheaper, and well, if someone's going to get 30, it's going to be Hickey. He does get to ruck against the second stringer, Hickey, which helps him, and he did clunk a few marks last week, and he has scored 77 and 81 since Natanui came back. So I don't really like anyone. Roughhead's the other one for Collingwood, and at 5,300 he's going to be pretty playable if you're looking at those backline stacks for Collingwood. And if you don't like any of the ruckmen, then throw Roughhead in and you save your money. You can spend it elsewhere. So I'll probably go a mix of all three of the cheaper ruckmen, and I'll just be avoiding Grundy.
Yeah, all right. Well, I've had a little sneaky look on Draftstars. He's 16K Grundy, and the Twins are 10K, and I think Grundy. I'm going against you there, Hef. I'm going to go back to the well and say I'm going to go Grundy, 16K, first bin, move on. Let's move on to the defenders. And, Quainer on Moneyball's at 4,200, so he's going to be our chalky player for this particular slate. So we've got to find a number 2 or possibly a third flex player because you do like these backs.
Well, this has been the area that we can target these two teams during the year. In the backs, every time we've pulled these teams up, we've sort of thought, we don't want to target anyone here, but if we have to, it's the backs. So like you say, we might use the flex on the back here. Quainer, he's too cheap at 4,200. He did look pretty handy last week. He's going to learn a bit regarding composure and whatever else as he plays more game, obviously, but he knows how to find the ball, which is all we really care about.
Yep.
So the obvious play is to look at Roughhead in the ruck, Quainer, throw in another couple of Collingwood backs, and then hope that they try and take the air out of the game by chipping it around the back line. One thing I did notice last week, obviously we talked about Sicily killing the Pies. Jarman Impey was superb as well. He got 90-something for a a guy who's not known for his fantasy scoring. So that does imply that the West Coast may get Collingwood in that fashion. Shannon Hearn's down to 8,200. Coming back from injury, he's just sort of eased himself back into it. The wet conditions has taken his mark kick play just out a little bit. I think dry night, this is a massive contest. If West Coast happen to beat Collingwood, which they're favoured to, but if they do, it's going to be a huge result for their top two chances, which we know how vital that is for West Coast. They get straight through to the grand final with 2 home games if they can finish top 2. So I expect him to be up and about 8,200. I think he's a great play. Hearn. Of the rest of the backs, I think Tom Barrass will go to Mason Cox and shut him down, as he's done before. Jeremy McGovern's not a guy I play very often, but I just think Sicily plays a similar role. There's no real obvious forwards here for Collingwood, and if the midfield pressure's there's going to be a lot of high balls coming in, and I think McGovern's going to eat them up. He has scored 107 and 89 against the Pies over the last couple of years, so he does have a bit of upside around that sort of 6K mark, I think he is.
Nice. I do like Quainer on Draftstars. He's got around that 8.9K, and I reckon you've talked me into McGovern in tomorrow as well. So they're my little sneaky DS plays. Quainer and whoever you can, Hearn, McGovern. I like those two. So thanks for that, Hef. All right, for the mids, the tools on the DFR website suggest that there were some low-scoring mids last week for round 16 for both sides. Could this be a case that Moneyball have actually priced their mids up too high, considering their output at the moment?
They've got such a long history, these midfields, that especially Collingwood of just dominating the ball. I just think that it's going to be a very competitive game, so I don't think we're going to see really high scores from these mids. So I'm going to look at guys who are sort of just below the top rung, because it's going to be a little bit easier for them to hit value, and that's going to give us a bit more money to spread around the place. Luke Shuey's in unbelievable form. I'm a little bit concerned. Like, he's a wet weather specialist, Shuey. Anytime it's wet, he's the guy that stands up. So back onto a dry deck, it's a little concern that maybe he's a bit overplayed at the moment, but he's unlikely to be tagged coming up against the Pies, and he's just such a good player, Shuey, and 9,500 I think he is. He's just priced under Yo and Treloar. So I'd lean to him. And then guys like Sidebottom and Dom Shee, they're sort of around that 9K mark. A little bit easier to hit value. Those two blokes in particular do get involved in a lot of the mark kicks that we like from the midfielders when we're trying to stack the back line for that type of game. So looking at those two guys as well. Looking for value. Jared Cameron's an interesting one. 4 goals for 50 points last week. That doesn't really scream DFS success, but he did get 60-odd against Essendon in his first game, I think it was. 3,700, he's in the midfield. If you think it's going to be a massacre and you want to get as many forwards for the Eagles in as you can, then you can look at him. $6,000 for Aish, links up with your power backs there. Sear is very popular every week. He's still only 5,300, but 3 weeks, I think he was injured 1 week, but 3 scores in a row of 55 or below, and only 7 centre bounce attendances last week is concerning for him, who has to be in there because he's hopeless on the outside. So maybe he's a good option to fade Sear. And then obviously we've got Josh Noble, who no one really knows much about, but he's getting heaps of the ball, 3,500. It's a tough ask on debut over there in Perth, but I think he's going to be very popular just to open up salary for these teams that are pretty exposed.
Yeah, Noble's like 5K on Draftstars, so I think he'd be pretty popular in chalky. And then, you talked about Sear, like how many weeks do you keep going with him? I mean, he's 9,520, so he's either going to break you or make you for this one. So I'll probably have one more go at him just in case. He might have a different role, but let's see. All right, let's move on to forwards. And there's some tough plays down here, Hef. There's not many high-scoring ceiling forwards here. Data suggests that these guys don't actually give up many to forwards as well. So is there anything here that takes your fancy?
No, like you say, it's hard. I did mention the tall forwards against Pies theory. Lewis had 84 last week. Sam Reid had that big 120. The Kangas had Mason Wood and Ben Brown get 70 odd each. So if you want to go that angle, obviously you've got Darling and Kennedy, who are pretty reasonably priced, and Darling especially is in good form. 5K for Dacos. I don't think his price has caught up to what it should just yet. But if there is a game for him to have a down game, then this is probably it. So a little bit wary at him, but he's still underpriced. I like Cripps at 6,800. I think he's got enough upside to be playable there. I always like playing Main in my Collingwood stacks because he stays as a forward all year. And just looking at De Goey's centre bounce work last week against the Hawks, he attended a lot more than usual. And if they throw him in there to try and compete with the might of the Eagles, we're 7,400. He could definitely ton if he gets a lot more time on ball. So they're the guys I want to work around.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like De Goey. He's getting more centre bounces, as you said. And JJK on Draftstars around 8.4. Basement price now for him, considering he's a good or high ceiling. If he's going to play well against Collingwood, kick a few snags, he's going to be pretty popular on Draftstars as well. Hef, Jiki, Beck's time. If we bring it up on the screen here, I've got to ask you, I haven't actually highlighted my bet tonight. I want you to get your thoughts here. You're pretty glowing of Luke Shuey, and we've got a line here of 104.5 with us. You said he's in form, no tag. I got a sneaky feeling you're going to say the over here.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a little bit nervous coming back to drier conditions, but he's going so well, no tag. I think we can capitalise on his reputation for not quite being at the top of the fantasy tree, and I think he's going well enough to cover that.
Nice. Let's get on the overs for Shuey. All right, let's move on to the Saturday slate with a $50,000 contest for Moneyballers available and a $60,000 on Draftstars. 5 games now we have here with Sydney and Carlton, Hawthorn versus Fremantle down at UTAS in Launceston. The Dons playing the Kangaroos, Gold Coast versus Adelaide in the massacre there, and Geelong versus St Kilda. Thoughts here, Hef, on this Saturday slate?
Straight away, I'm looking at Lonnie, UTAS Stadium. Yes. We've seen some huge fantasy scores there over the time, so that's definitely on my radar. I'm looking at the Cats at home, off a loss, and they're up against a team that's can't wait for the end of the season already, St Kilda. So that could get ugly.
Yes, it could. Could lose a coach by the end of the weekend. You never know.
Wow, we're long overdue for that at St Kilda. And how about Gold Coast? How many times have they beaten Adelaide, Smatho?
How many fingers do I need?
No. I won't go there. You need none. They haven't beaten Adelaide. Haven't beaten Adelaide, and I don't think they will again this week. They were hopeless against Richmond, and they're ready for the season to finish too. So that's my initial thoughts on these games.
Okay, well, let's look at the rucks then. Saints are leaking a lot of points in the ruck with, Rowan Marshall, who's been having a fantastic season, but, he scores a lot, but he gives up a lot. So do we give our mate Zachy Clark another chance if he gets picked at a bargain basement price?
He's a real favourite of the show, isn't he, Zach Clark? And wasn't he just pathetic last week? Twitter was into him. I saw old Rexall 9. He was not happy at all, for good reason. I don't think they're going to drop him. I saw some comments from Johnny Worsfold, something along the lines that he needs to be more competitive this week. Goldstein is not what he was, Goldstein, but he's going pretty well this year. I think 8K, he's very reasonable. I also think Cruiser taking on Aaliyah at 7,600, he seems pretty reasonable as well. I don't think we're going to see your boy Grassy Noel in for another week.
Well.
Yeah, you can hear the disappointment in your voice. They're the two guys I'm looking at. And then, like you say, Holler for a Marshall and Reece Stanley going against each other. I've had enough of Reece Stanley, but like I say, that's probably the time to start playing these dudes.
Fair enough. Cruisers are around 11K on DS as well, so up against Aaliyah is probably my safe kind of play if you're playing that Saturday slate, even if the Grassy Noel gets a game. So you might even bump it up further if he gets a game. All right, Hef, let's move on to the defence here. What are your thoughts here for the backs on Saturday?
First, I went to the cheat sheets and searched by the value, and first guy that came up was Jed Buse, one of the great yo-yos this season. 90 when I didn't play much of him because it was Jed Buse, but it made me look stupid. He even kicked a goal against – who was that against? I can't remember, but he went berserk. And then he sucked a few in last week. I saw he was about 15% owned against the Dogs, and he got 36. That was the Jed Buse I know.
Yes.
But now he's against the Saints, which you've been on all year. You've been red hot on this, Smatho. Backs against the Saints, 3,800. Is it time to jump back on the Buse train?
It is. It is. And then all his mates down in Geelong can jump on too.
Yeah. Tommy Stewart seems pretty well priced at 8,400. I can't catch Zach Tui. 2 tons in his last 3, and I was on the middle pin.
Oh, were you?
6,700 though. Like he has to be playable with that 100-point upside at that price. And then little Clark at 5,700, he's just running wherever he likes. And he's got some talent, that kid. So he can easily score 90. So that's more than enough at his price. So they're going to be popular, the Cats. Another guy we might sort of revisit, Griffin Logue, who's let everyone down the last couple of weeks.
Oh, hello. The jump off narrative.
Yeah. So Hawks are the other team that give up a heap to the backs. And I haven't been able to work out why it is, but like if they want to let the big Unco backs chip the ball around the back line, Griffin Logue's the guy who's going to be involved there. I think everyone's going to sack him after his last 2 40s or 30s or whatever he's got, but he has shown he can get 100. So, yeah, Griffin Lowe's a guy to look at. Sicily, 7,800. That's too cheap for a guy of his ability. And then you're our Carlton correspondent, Smatho. They're going to tag Lloyd?
No.
No?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Well, he makes he's 9,900 Lloyd, which isn't too bad considering he can get 150. So he's going to be worth a look. And finally, Brad Shear.
Oh, no.
Mate.
Oh, no. I played him last week. Would have turned up
no, we don't want to be playing him, Smatho. We got to stay well away from him and whoever he's on. So Rory Laird or Brodie Smith, one of those guys might have him in their pocket. So that's just going to slow me up on them.
Yep. I'm still can't get away from Geelong's backs here. You know, Tommy Stewart at 13K on DS looks like a sensational play. Tui, you might as well get on him as well. He's 11.9. A few might be scared away. And then Alirali, as you said, he's got back status and he's only 9K. So if he's going to be around the scrimmages and the tackles and the clearances, give me some Alirali at 9K.
I'm with you on
play that.
Tui, 12, he's nearly 12K Tui. That scares me.
You know, but got to trust the data sometimes, Hef. We're going to have some great scores against the Saints. You got to pay up for it. Mids, money time here. You know, big 5-game slate. You got so many mids to decipher here. But I think there's one pretty key player that sticks out like a sore thumb on Moneyball sites here. Who is it?
Yeah, Rowbottom. Still only 4,000. 87 off about 50% time on ground last week. He was 4th on the team in centre bounce attendances. He plays Carlton this week. Why haven't you stopped me already, Smatho? How much more do you It's just lock him in.
Can't you see the chalk around my mouth right now? I just short it up.
Just lock him in. What about Dylan Clark? I went into bat for Dylan Clark last week. I said, you got to keep playing him at that price. Oh, I've had enough now. He's pathetic. He's not. I don't even know. He probably won't even be in the team. He's not tagged. He's not getting the ball. What is he there for?
Well, he's 4,600. You know, if you got Rowbottom and Clark, you can make some amazing teams. But
that's true. I'm Piers Hanley bin for me.
There's plenty of room in the Piers Hanley bin for Clarkie.
Too many options on this slate. Let's go through these quickly because they're all playable. We've got Crows mids against Gold Coast, which has just been dynamite all year.
Yes.
And it's been the inside mids too, and Crows, that's all they've got. They got Crouches, they got Sloan. Another one I'm thinking, Hugh Greenwood, 7,200. There's no Gibbs. There's no Cam Ellis Yeoman.
Yeah.
By all reports. Does he finally get back through the middle there, Greenwood? Because if he does, he's got 100 for the taking. Now we've got Swans mids against Carlton. That's
we do too. Yeah.
Geelong mids against the Saints, who have had enough. And then we've got Hawks mids against Freo down there in Lonnie, where it's going to struggle to get to 12. Like Freo just aren't going to want. There's going to be long sleeves out. It could get ugly for Freo under those conditions. There's so many options through the midfield here that just makes my head hurt.
Well, let me relieve your pain by saying if you go to the data tools on the DFR website, and I went on the Draftstars tab and I clicked the value tab as we do, and what came up was Adelaide mids on Draftstars. Their salaries are just too cheap for this Gold Coast matchup. So any mids that you can get from Adelaide, get your five crow limit if you need to, and just load up. Smatho load up on the Crows.
Smatho's giving us a license.
License to eat. All right, let's look at the forwards again and again. Our enthusiasm drops as we need to find forwards that can break the team, break your slate. Is there anything there of note here on Moneyball?
It's tough times when you're looking through it. I'm thinking Josh Jenkins is my favourite forward play. Big Jenko, he just loves a carcass, Jenko. Dry, sunny day up there at Gold Coast. He's just going to be hanging out the back.
Is he back? Is he back from his knee?
I think he is. I think they're talking him up of coming in.
Well, if he's got to come back, he might as well play Gold Coast.
Get a form up. Yeah, I think it's perfect for him. What do we do with Tom Hawkins? Like, it's another great spot here against the Saints, but I've just about had enough. So you know what that means.
Yeah, it means
how about you,
6 goals.
Jack Barney, your boy, son of Sauce.
Oh, little son of Sauce. They pretty much gave him the ultimatum. Pretty much. Once old little man coach left and Teagues come in, he said, "Mate, you got to run the ball and you just run around everywhere and get a kick." And he's certainly getting a kick. He's getting a mark. He's getting handballs. He's racking up fantasy scores. And 5,100 on Moneyball, he's going to be pretty popular in the forward. So it's almost first pick next for Sauce. And that probably means a down game. So just be careful not putting all the chips in on the Sauce. Okay? That's what I figure.
Guys, Simpkin getting some midfield time in the Kangaroos lineup, so he's going to be worth looking at 6,200. I love this kid Hanrahan for the Hawks. I reckon he shows heaps. 4,400. I'll be having some of him.
It's Freo, yep.
Cool. It's Freo. I don't really like any. The expensive guys aren't in good spots, and I think we can save salary in the forward positions on Saturday.
Yep, don't go overboard with your salary in the forwards. All right, little Saturday sneaky again. Another non-highlighted bet here for you, but I reckon you know the answer here. So most fantasy sport head-to-head on the Bet Easy site. Brad Crouch versus Mitch Duncan.
Ooh.
I'm pretty boyish on one particular team, so who you reckon I'm going to go over this week?
Crouch. I don't think this is that straight. Duncan's he's in a pretty good spot, Duncan, as well.
But he's been playing either forward or back. He's not really
but who are
there where you want him to.
Who's Geelong playing?
The Saints.
The Saints. And what do you love playing against the Saints?
Oh, the backs.
The backs. And Mitch Duncan, he might just float around half back. I'm going to make this in. You can have Brad Crouch. I'll take Mitch Duncan. We've got to get you a winner.
Tomorrow, the poll is going up tomorrow. Brad Crouch versus Mitch Duncan. I'll put it in a poll. See what comes out of this, and this will be more head wobble next week. Whoever wins out of that one. I'll have a back paddle here.
I'll be more happy if I get this one across here because you came in a full head of steam on this one, and I've nearly talked you out of it already.
No,
back yourself. We'll
Brad Crouch, do it, mate. Gold Coast, surely 160, surely. All right, let's look through.
Crouch anyway, but that's another.
All right. Sunday, 3 games. The Tigers are playing the Giants. Geez, the Giants are decimated by injuries now. Western Bulldogs versus Melbourne and Port Adelaide in Brisbane. Great game. The old last game on the slate. All right. Let's run through this pretty quick here on the Sunday. Your thoughts here. Bit of gold. end the show with tonight here, mate.
Some rapid fire. Right,
Rapid
straight
fire.
away, look at Bulldogs. Who's racking
Yes.
against Tim English? Like if it's Bruce or if it's Gorn, put him in.
Mm-hmm.
What GWS is going to turn up at the G? It sounds like they're going to struggle to have 22 turn up the way they're going. Richmond are hitting their straps now. This game is huge for the top 4 chances. I think Richmond are going to run over GWS, but if Sicili's out, Cornelio's in doubt. Did you hear that?
Yes, he's in doubt, but he should get up.
He should go. So if Whitfield comes back, he probably slots into that midfield. Tim Taranto's probably going to get as much as he can eat in there. You got to think about that for GWS. There's spots in the midfield, like Perryman, Haitley, Tomlinson, I guess. Delidio's back against his own team.
And before you go on, don't get sucked into last week's Richmond forward scores. We all know what happened there. We're not going to see a Shea Bolton 100 in your lifetime again, by the way, folks.
Ooh, big call. Seen one before that game, actually. Castagna, the worst good small forward in the league. Anyway, let's continue. What's going on with Lincoln McCarthy? I was watching Brisbane GWS and he was everywhere.
Yeah.
This little stay-at-home forward, and he's had 3 straight games over 80. He's still only 5,600. I don't like this Brisbane-Port matchup because they're both really stingy against opposition teams, so they're just going to stinge each other out of it. You sick of playing Lipinski yet, Smatho?
What is he this week? Is he gone up to the 9K yet?
No, 6,900. So
69.
Don't get sick of him just yet. Just keep playing him.
Keep going. Okay.
Finally, Rocky against his old mob. If you look in the form guide, he had 43 against him last time. Earlier this year, but that was when he got elbowed in the head and they shut him down in the third quarter. They put him head-to-head against Zorko. They're hard to score against, so in these multi-game slates, I really don't like taking them on.
Fair enough. Look, Hef, let's wrap these things up. There's a lot of sport on a Wednesday night. I've got one eye back on the Origin again. It's got second half. The cricket's got very interesting again. Primetime cricket. The game's got to finish by like 11 o'clock tonight, which is going to be super. Hef, brilliant as always. I'm looking forward to the results of our head-to-head battle between Crouch and Duncan next week. I will get the head wobble, hopefully. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all of our previous shows. Make sure you also jump on the Daily Fantasy Rankings website. A lot of articles have been going up for Cricket World Cup, NRL, AFL, golf. It's all there for you guys. So, Hef, thank you for joining me again on this Wednesday evening. You've been such a good resource for our viewers, and thanks again.
Thanks. I can't believe you said that with a straight face.
I just
thanks, mate. Catch you next week.
It's true. Maybe it made it up. But thanks very much, everyone. I'm going to have a beer. Catch us next week.
Ciao.